Friday, March 20th, 2020. It's a little after 10 o'clock right now. I'm on a rooftop. I guess this would be the 8th floor. And San Isidro, which is one of the cities in Lima. The big tower is connected. Hopefully you can see it there. That's part of the police station just over there. But yeah, we're on total quarantine lockdown, can't go anywhere, and I am on a rooftop. So just trying to Anne Frank the shit out of this, because it's important to kind of remember what you're feeling in the moment. And having the ability to go back and look at that and remember those feelings, it's really important. I was here a couple of months ago. I set up a little place, cleaned off a little spot. Not that I knew that this was coming. This was just a place that I had come and worked out at on top of this rooftop. But I remember thinking the other day, hopefully you can see this. Okay, yeah, there's the crane right there. I remember seeing this crane, and then way in the background there's another crane back here by the KP&G building, and then there's another crane way over there. Less than 9 days ago, I remember looking at that crane and thinking to myself, as I saw it moving back and forth, that it's just going to be a few days and the whole world's going to be different. The crane's not going to be moving. And sure enough, these are standing still. I think it was just, I was so clear at the moment that I knew, and this was before any announcements were made about anything in regards to even the United States going on this was before the United States had said that there was going to be a state of emergency. Without a doubt, after that announcement was made, down there are the military. They're walking around down there with their machine guns, and we're not used to seeing the military as Americans in our presence, and that's another weird thing for me to absorb again. But this was before the United States even announced that it was going to go to that lockdown. Once it was announced, I knew for sure that Peru was going to take, a stance that was going to be just as bold as the United States' stance was, which, by the way, there's no way that the steps that the United States have made by closing its borders is even close to enough. And with every day that they waste with not believing that they need to go as far as suspending the U.S. Constitution, it sounds crazy, but that's exactly what happened here in Peru. Your right to gather has been lost, right to assemble. Your right for free movement means less than the society's total overall health and well-being. That's what's going to save Peru. Is I think that there needs to be some sort of reset button back in the United States when it comes to understanding what constitutes a national emergency. And I think that there's a lot of people that after 9/11 were I've heard people talk about it, like the things that happened after 9/11 with, the laws. At the time it seemed necessary, but a lot of these laws have been used, Homeland Security is being used for other means. I met a lady that works for Homeland Security in 2016 in Wyoming while I was traveling, and she works for Homeland Security. She was the secretary for the entire Homeland Security in Wyoming. And I'm thinking, like, what's Do people really have? We have a lot of problems with people crossing the borders here in Wyoming, and really what she told me Homeland Security was doing is really they spent more time catching pedophiles, which, hey man, I agree, that's terrible, but it's online pedophilia that they were catching, and all these total dirtbags, which again, totally agree, totally nasty, totally wrong. But the problem, as I see it, is when you start using a tool for the intention or purposes that it was not designed for, when you start crossing those lines, when those black and white lines become gray areas in an area that is supposed to be very black and white, which is our law. And even in areas where it might have room for interpretation, the law talks about what is the spirit of the law. And I wouldn't protect these pedophiles that get caught, but what I would protect is the tools that we use. And everybody wants to say, well, if you don't have anything to hide, then you shouldn't be worried about it. But I don't know anybody that doesn't have a curtain on their window. And when they go to bed at night, when they close that curtain, you may not be doing anything wrong, but you value your security. You value your privacy. And it's finding that balance in a crazy world right now when bullies or when people come in and strike us, like on 9/11. And I hate to say this, but this is the truth. We look at these people as cowards and bullies, but we've lost a lot of respect for our adversaries that are out there. And you can't minimize that. It's important to have a high level of respect for your enemies. Thousands of injuries that we've paid with in blood and in treasure have weakened not only the resolve of our nation to be involved in things, but it's also created this very poor national consciousness that I think we have. And that's this thought process, this belief that it's America first. Well, I understand that rhetoric, okay? But what happened in Wuhan, China, if you look back to the wet markets that are there, had more to do with starvation of the people, and these were started as a result of trying to feed people. Like in the lockdown we're in right now, it would be as if there was no more food available and we had to go to game meats. So when you say America first, although that sounds great, wonderful, and everything else, we're learning right now, being crippled by the very fact that it's interesting to me that this virus, at this point in time in our world, is requiring us to collaborate. And I remember a long time ago, because I love UFO stuff, and yeah, do I believe we're alone? Absolutely not. And Ronald Reagan said something very important. He said, and I'm paraphrasing, what would it be like if an outside force essentially made us have to unite? Would our differences be that different? Right now, it's important to understand that we have more needs that are alike. And that when our neighbor is starving and needs food, that is our problem. And so, yeah, America first. Love the rhetoric, love the thought of it, okay? But we need to start thinking a lot bigger than that. Does it surprise anyone that with the advent and rollout of the internet, high-speed data, the ability to do instant video conferencing, does it surprise anyone that we should start thinking that the world is a little smaller? That we should be a little bit more united? I don't know. Please share your thoughts. I'm curious what other people are thinking, but this is where I'm at right now. It's March 20th. It's Friday. It's about 10:30, I suppose. And I'm out here witnessing what I hope to be some history that doesn't repeat itself anytime soon. Thanks for watching this, guys.